There, Andrew, Jolling, the accidental author, and it's wonderful to be here for another month of inspiration. And this month, I have Aldwyn Altuney. How'd I go, Aldwyn? Did I get it right?
You did. Well done.
That's awesome. That's good. I had to practice a few times to get that right because Aldwyn said 99% of people don't, and I'm getting names right is important for me because I know how important it is,
Yes.
for people to get your name right, isn't it?
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You pronounced it beautifully.
Thank you so much. It took me 4 hours of practice, but I got it finally. And just for the people watching this, Aldwyn, you are a very impressive young lady. You've got a background as a photojournalist. You've had years and decades in the media, haven't you? In TV, radio, newspapers. You're a published author in multiple books. You are you can see in your background, the media queen, TV and free publicity. So you do a lot of work helping people with publicity and stuff. So thank you so much for sharing some time.
Thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure. So tell us a bit about your journey, Aldwyn. Let's just jump in. And how did it start for you? And tell us a little bit about the stuff you're doing and why you're so passionate about it.
Sure. Thank you, Andrew. Well, actually, I've got 37 years media experience, which I know is hard to believe because I look about 25.
Exactly.
However, I am actually 47 and I know I don't look 47. I know, it's amazing. It's my good European blood.
Absolutely.
Actually, my first brush with the media was at age 10. I was interviewed by the Manly Daily in Sydney for table tennis. So I was on the other side of the camera, and I had a fascination at the time because I remember looking up at the photographer in our garage in North Balgowlah where we had a table tennis table, and he was getting a photo down at looking at the table with, I had my bat and a ball in front of me, and I thought, wow, I looked up at him, I thought, wow, that looks like such a fun thing to do. I'd love to do something like that one day. And then at age 11, I had my first appearance on TV. I was on Cartoon Connection, and I remember at the time I was in the studio in Sydney and they had a massive camera in front of us, and the host turned to me and said, Aldwyn, don't think about the 2 million people watching this right now.
Oh, of course. And when they said that, then what is the only thing you think about?
Exactly. That was the only thing I thought about. And I looked at that camera and I just froze. It was the worst interview ever. However, what they did have in the studio at that time, and this is the thing about the media, is they want to not just educate, they want to entertain as well. So what they did have in the studio was a table tennis table, and my brother and I got on the table and we just kept playing forehand to forehand, and we did forehand to forehand all the time. It was nothing for us. It was just us having a hit up training before we actually got into the real game, and they loved that. They're like, wow, look at that. They just keep the ball on the table. And the reason I share that story is because often with a lot of people, they have genius in them and they're doing amazing things all the time that they don't think is amazing. And then someone else will step in and look at it and go, wow, how do you do that? Right. So then I did a radio show at Radio Manly Warringah in Sydney at 13, and then did work experience at Manly Daily, worked in the media after that, I did a media degree in Canberra actually, and I was the longest serving editor of the university newspaper at the time called Curio. It was a 24 to 48 page publication we put out every 2 weeks, and we had about 30 contributors to that publication. And I loved the power of the media while I was at uni to express ideas and thoughts around what I saw out in the world that upset me or angered me in some way. So some of the stories I wrote back then, there was an anti-duck shooting story. I couldn't believe that in Australia it's still legal to shoot ducks for fun, right? I couldn't believe this. I just thought, this is horrific. I've got to write about this and help raise awareness. And so I remember the headline we had at the time was "Go and Get Ducked." Right?
Oh, I love it.
So it was in your face uni press. And then I did stories about female circumcision, battery farming of chickens, recycling and helping the environment, and just whatever it was that I saw. And back then it was documentaries, right? Because we didn't have social media back then. This is back 92 to 94. So Facebook didn't even start till 2004, right? And now we have, out of the 7.8 billion people on the planet, we have 3.8 billion active social media users. So now we have about half the world's population active social media users, journalists going to social media all the time looking for story ideas. So basically after that, after I left uni, I did about 15 years or so working in TV, radio, print with News Limited, APN, freelancing for magazines overseas. So I've done a bit of, TV, radio, print media. I have also been involved in film projects on both sides of the camera as well, created short films and been an actress in feature films and in TV commercials as well. So I've really had such a wide experience in the media now. And I've had the great fortune in that time to interview celebrities like Hugh Jackman, Cyndi Lauper, Russell Crowe, Debbie Harry from Blondie. And, there's a few things that these people all have in common. All celebrities have this in common. And the people watching this right now, you may actually be able to relate to this, is that once upon a time, they were known as the world's best kept secret.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like you might feel right now like you're the world's best kept secret. And so what did these people do to become celebrities, to become superstars in their industry? What they did, firstly, they're really passionate about what they do, right? Really passionate about what they, to the point where money's not an issue, because we know a lot of celebrities once upon a time were working as waiters or waitresses to get that bit of money, and while they just focused on their passion, right? They did whatever it took to get to where they wanted to go. The other thing they all have in common is they have developed a thick skin, right? A thick skin to any crap that might come your way, which it will as you step up with your message, right? You're going to have people that love what you do and people that hate what you do, and that will increase as you put yourself out there. The other thing they all have in common, and someone said at one of my physical events once, Andrew, they said they all take cocaine. Well, actually, I don't know about their drug habits, about these celebrities. However, they've toughened themselves to what they do. They're passionate about what they do. They will do whatever it takes to get to where they are. And the other thing about them is that they are human beings, just like you and I, right? And this is the thing, we put these people up on pedestals. We might put others in our industry up on pedestals, right? As business people, as authors, we think, well, gee, I'm not as good as J.K. Rowling or, whoever out there that we might admire. And so, yeah, it's really great to see that. And, they were all lovely to talk to. Well, I'd say 99% of celebrities I interviewed were really great people and very humble, actually, not hard to talk to at all. There was one or two difficult ones.
Sure,
however,
a bit of an ego there, I'm sure.
Yeah. So that's, and then I left the Gold Coast Sun as a journalist. When I started at the Gold Coast Sun in 2000, I was doing 5 stories a week. By the time I left, I was doing 30 stories a week in just 5 years' time. So what happened is the Gold Coast Sun and the Hinterland Sun was 2 papers at the time we were writing for. It evolved in 2002 to 5 newspapers. We had the Upper North, the Central, South, and Tweed edition of the newspaper, and no extra reporters. So I went from 5 stories a week to doing 30 stories a week. And pretty much if I kept going, I would have burnt out. And that's the thing with journalists, is there's about a 5-year burnout with journalists, about a 5-year burnout. So when we're looking to pitch to the media, we need to think about how busy journalists are and actually making their job easier for them. That's a really crucial point, because, the more you can package up what you do and make it easy for the reporter, the more they're going to love you. And a big tip here is actually to look at the story behind what you're doing. And the media don't care about your widget or your thing as much as what your widget or your thing does for the wider community.
Yeah. That's awesome. Wow. Got some gold in there already, Aldwyn. Thank you so much for sharing. Wow, what an amazing journey you've had in the media, that's for sure. And you've obviously learned a lot and you've applied a lot of it yourself. Because now, tell me about your writing experience, because you've co-authored many books.
Yes. I'm in about 11 compilation books, about to come out in a few more. These are just some of the ones I've appeared in. Undefeated, that was done through Speakers Tribe Global with authors from India and Singapore. This one I did a while ago with Pat Mesiti, Visions of Success. This one with Shah Moore, the Why Not series. I was in that one. I was in this one about Change by Suicide with Trish Springsteen. This one with Ben Harvey and Authentic Education, Elevate Your Mindset. And Fiona Jones was involved in that. So there's so many. I love compilation books. I absolutely love it, because it's exponential marketing, and everyone has shared their best info in that chapter, right? So you can go to any chapter and just open and read about someone's life and be inspired, as opposed to reading a whole book cover to cover. Although having a whole book of your own is obviously fantastic for profile building. However, you will have a lot more reach, I believe, through a compilation book.
So what you're saying is a compilation book is certainly a good publicity. It's a good PR piece, gets you out there wider. You've got a multiple of people promoting the same book because they're in it, which gets you a wider reach. So there's no doubt about it, which I think is important. I also know that a lot of these guys, that people are watching this, they've got a story, they've got lessons and things they want people to know, and they want to have an impact on the world. And I think that's really powerful. So in all
Yes.
of those books that you've contributed, Aldwyn, what's the key message, would you say? What is your key?
Oh, well, it's what I stand for, and that is inspiring truth and good news in the world. And I'm also a massive advocate for the fair treatment of animals, and also in looking after the environment. I think there's a lot we can learn from the animals in our life, and also from nature. I think Mother Earth is incredibly powerful, and I think we've become very disconnected from nature. As business people, as authors potentially, and I think if you want to improve your writing, get out in nature. Right, it's one of the most inspiring things you can do, and meditating, also go inwards. So that's really some of the main things that I talk about, and obviously, and my journey and my background. I also actually I haven't shared in many compilation books, or maybe any, that my great-grandparents were kulaks in Ukraine. This is part of why I do what I do, by the way. My great-grandparents were kulaks. And when Stalin took over, they killed off about 30,000 kulaks, which were rich landowners. And what happened is that Stalin's men, they basically wanted to make it all communist. They wanted to get rid of kulaks as a class. So they went in, they told my parents, my great-grandparents, they told them to get off the land. It's minus 20 degrees. They had nowhere to go. They took them out the front of the house and they hung them. Meanwhile, their son was in another part of the Ukraine, started to speak up about this, and then his friends came to him and said, "You're speaking up against the government. Now they're coming to kill you." And so he ran away to Turkey, met my dad's mum, who was Greek, and so that's how I have Greek, Turkish, Ukrainian. And so what I have in my bloodline, in my DNA, which it's scientifically proven, we all have 7 generations of DNA that we carry with us. What I have in my DNA is I have people who were killed and who were running for their life in fear of speaking up against the government and speaking up against those in power and in control. Yeah. And we've seen again and again over time that people have been silenced, and many people have been killed for speaking their truth. We've seen it with Martin Luther King, JFK, John Lennon. I mean, the list goes on. There's so many. There's a whole lot of health doctors, and that's a whole other topic, that have also been killed. Natural health doctors have been killed as well. And that's a whole other thing. But it's about speaking your truth. And so I feel now my ancestors are with me. They're with me, supporting me in the journey to help people step up and speak up. And as an author, step up and speak up. If you are an author and you're not speaking up about your book, then you're leaving a treasure sitting on the sidelines.
Absolutely. Well, and I always say, or when I say to everyone that I work with, it's not about the book, because people think, well, I want to be an author. No, you don't want to be an author. You want your message out to the world. So it's not about the book. It's exactly about getting that message out to the world. Now, it sounds to me, Aldwyn, that you need to actually write a book, not just be a chapter in a book. You need your own book.
Yes, I've got one. Yes, I do. I've got one called Good News Sells, and it's been sitting on the sideline for a while. Good News Sells: How to Gain Over $1 Million Worth of Positive Free Publicity. So I've got that book that I'm working on in the background, but it's just kind of been parked a little bit while I've had other priorities. So
awesome. So, Aldwyn, free publicity secrets, I see in the top right screen of your Zoom screen. Would you mind sharing with the guys just maybe a couple of your top 3? What are your top 3 free publicity secrets?
Sure.
I'm sure people would love to hear them.
Absolutely. I actually have a 7-step system, which I won't go through now, but I do cover it in my free publicity secrets masterclass. I go into great detail in my 4-hour online event. And I have an awesome formula to publicity, and I'll just break the awesome formula down to just 3 simple steps today. So the first is get very clear on your product or your service or message, or what is it that you want to promote? Because at any time, there'll be different things that you'll want to promote. You might want to promote your business. You might want to promote your message, a cause, perhaps. You might want to promote a product. What is it that you want to promote? And that might sound like a very simple thing. However, often as entrepreneurs, we have multiple things on the go, and so actually fine-tuning that to exactly what is the main priority right now for what you want to promote, and get very clear in this process of, who's your avatar, which sort of media do you want to reach, who do you want to influence? And then within that, once you work out what your product and service is, you need to look at what is your story behind that. Why is it that you do what you do? And everyone generally has some story behind why they do what they do.
Yep.
Right? So what is the story behind that? And then the next thing, once you do that, you get really clear on that, you need to work some angles for the media. And in that, the next step is about package. So once you're clear on your product, you then package it up. These are my 3 Ps actually. Package it up. And packaging it up, you need a press release and you need some good visuals. And this is for all media, whether it's TV, radio, print, podcast, everyone's promoting things on social media and online now. You need some visuals and you need some good text to go with that. Okay, so now you can get publicity without a press release. You just increase the chances of the journalists getting the facts wrong. And as I was saying, you've got to make their job easy for them. So you write the press release like a story they can just copy and paste if it's print media or something that they can easily see the main points of that in that press release. And it's very different to a blog article. There's quite an art form to doing a press release well, and journalists can tell, and I know as a journalist, I've had 500 press releases come my way in a week. You know, we get so many press releases. They can tell if people know what they're doing when they're pitching to the media or if they don't. They can tell if it's too commercial. A lot of these just end up in the bin because they're too commercial. A lot of people are pitching their widget or whatever it is without what does that widget do for the community? How do you help the community? People's wasting thousands of dollars in advertising, and same with digital advertising because they're not getting these fundamentals right. Okay. Now, so firstly is your product, next is your package. Then the next thing is pitch. You've got 45 seconds to get your pitch across to a journalist. You've got to be very snappy about it. There's certain times of day that are better to pitch to the media as well than other times. If you get them on deadline, they're not going to want to talk to you. In fact, they'll find you annoying and you'll burn bridges that way. So it's very important to get those 3 essential things right: the product, the package, and the pitch. That's a very simple way. There's so much more I can share on that. Then of course, once you get the media, you then need to maximize that, right? Make the most of that media that you get. A lot of people just get media and don't do anything with it. We need to know you got that media coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. Just in that short period of time, Aldwyn, you've given us some absolute gold, which is amazing. Now, you mentioned a masterclass, which I'm sure people watching this will go, well, okay, how do I access that? So how do they find out about, because I know you run these on a monthly basis, is that right?
Yes, I actually have several events that I run, and in line with what I'm passionate about, and here's another tip for you around the media. If you're really passionate about something, you tie that in with your business. The media love that. They love community angles. So you could actually create something yourself. So for example, with my animal action work, for years I saw animal cruelty, was very upset about it, wanted to do something about it. I created the world's first animal action day in 2007. I've now done 14 annual events raising awareness, appreciation, and respect for animals. That in itself has had millions of dollars worth of free publicity.
Yeah.
And helped a whole lot of causes. With the good news work I do, I started a Good News Day on the 8th of the 8th, 18, and a Global Good News Challenge, which people can participate in every month on Facebook Live. It's very easy to do, and just share your name, what you do, 3 things you're grateful for, and a piece of good news. So that's the Global Good News Challenge. The idea is to lift the energy on the planet and decrease depression and suicide rates. And of course, I have a story around that. I've had depression. I've had 4 friends take their own lives. And so this is part of why I'm also passionate about sharing truth and good news and lifting the energy on the planet. So I run several events every month, coming back to your question. So I have the Global Good News Challenge every month. We have a Mass Media Tribe meetup, which is just another free event online, 2-hour event. We have a guest speaker each month. We've got one on podcasting coming up with a speaker from Canada in September. And then I have also a Star Maker Masterclass, which I do physically on the Gold Coast, although there is a online version for that too. And that is where we're teaching people how to present and produce videos like a superstar. And then the last one is the Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass. So that's something I'm doing monthly at the moment. We do have the September one set up, 4-hour online event. It's only $97, and I give away so much gold for that. So to access that, just go to freeprSecrets.com, freeprSecrets.com, and you'll see our upcoming events. And with any of the other ones, I'm also on Linktree, just Linktree/Aldwyn, you'll get all my social media links. So you can connect on all of those different places. So either Linktree/Aldwyn or freeprSecrets.com.
Brilliant, Aldwyn. Wow. You've just pumped out just gold, just flowing out of your mouth. And I know everyone listening to this is energized and inspired and excited with what you shared. So I want to say thank you for taking the time to have a quick chat with me. And I know everyone will be incredibly grateful for what you shared. So Aldwyn, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. I look forward to interviewing you on Media Queen TV soon too. So look out for that one.
I look forward to it too. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye.